The 3rd century BCE was an era of immense turmoil, marked by monumental battles and extraordinary figures that shaped history. The aftermath of Alexander the Great's conquests plunged the Hellenistic world into relentless warfare among his successors, with the Seleucid, Ptolemaic, and Antigonid dynasties vying for dominance. Meanwhile, Rome, a growing powerhouse, launched campaigns to unify the Italian peninsula and clashed with Carthage, setting the stage for its eventual supremacy. Farther east, India was undergoing transformative changes, culminating in the rise of the Mauryan Empire and the extraordinary reign of Ashoka the Great. In 326 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hindu Kush and entered India, reaching the Indus River. He demanded submission from local rulers, including Omphis of Taxila and Porus of Paurava. While Omphis conceded, Porus resisted, forcing Alexander into a fierce engagement at the Hydaspes River. Though victorious, Alexander's army, weary from years of campaigning, mutinied, refusing to march further into the Indian subcontinent. Their hesitation was fueled by reports of the formidable Nanda Empire, whose vast military included 250,000 infantry, cavalry, chariots, and war elephants. Reluctantly, Alexander retreated to Babylon, leaving a power vacuum that destabilized northern India. By 320 BCE, this instability allowed Chandragupta Maurya to emerge as a significant force. His origins remain debated. While some accounts suggest he was of humble origins, others claim he belonged to the warrior caste. Inspired by Alexander's exploits, Chandragupta mastered military strategies and political acumen, which he employed to unite the fractured region. After several failed attempts to seize the Nanda capital, he shifted focus to the northwest, capturing territories weakened by Alexander's campaigns. These victories enabled him to cut off the Nandas' supply lines, eventually toppling their dynasty. Having consolidated his power, Chandragupta established the Mauryan Empire and entered into an alliance with Seleucus I, one of Alexander's generals. The treaty involved Chandragupta gifting 500 war elephants in exchange for peace and a matrimonial alliance. His son and successor, Bindusara, maintained these diplomatic ties and pursued expansion into the Deccan Plateau. The focus of this narrative shifts to Ashoka, Bindusara's son, who would eventually rise to prominence. Initially, Ashoka's prospects of inheriting the throne seemed slim, as his elder brother Susima was the crown prince and favored heir. Complicating matters further, Ashoka's mother, Subhadrangi, was a commoner, while Susima's mother came from royal lineage. Despite this, Ashoka's potential became evident during his early assignments as a provincial governor. At 18, Ashoka was sent to Taxila, a thriving center of trade and learning, to suppress a local revolt. He reportedly achieved this with remarkable efficiency. Exposure to the city's intellectual and cultural diversity likely broadened Ashoka's worldview and deepened his understanding of governance. Later, he was appointed governor of Ujjain, a vital administrative and economic hub. It was here that he met Devi, the daughter of a merchant and a member of the Shakya clan associated with the Buddha. Their union produced 2 children, Mahendra and Sanghamitra. However, Ashoka's peaceful life was disrupted in 274 BCE when Bindusara passed away. The subsequent struggle for succession led to a 4-year civil war. Ashoka, with the support of his father's ministers and a decisive occupation of the capital, emerged victorious. In 270 BCE, the same year that Hannibal was born in Carthage, Ashoka ascended the throne, prepared to expand and strengthen the empire. Once in power, Ashoka continued the Mauryan tradition of conquest, driven by practical needs and the desire to attain the prestigious title of Chakravartin, universal ruler. This ambition, however, would soon lead him into a devastating conflict that would profoundly shape his legacy. The aftermath of the Kalinga War left Ashoka deeply shaken. Observing the devastation, the countless lives lost, and the profound suffering of the survivors, he experienced a rare moment of introspection. The young children orphaned, mothers grieving for their sons, and families torn apart by the horrors of war profoundly affected the emperor. For the first time, Ashoka publicly acknowledged the moral cost of his victory, admitting his regret over the bloodshed. He declared that even a fraction of the lives lost in Kalinga was a tragedy, a sentiment unheard of from a victorious ruler. This moment marked a transformation in Ashoka. The man who had ruthlessly fought his way to power now questioned the purpose and consequences of his actions. Resolving never to wage war again, he dedicated himself to building a more virtuous society. Ashoka began to embrace the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, whose philosophy of peace, compassion, and nonviolence resonated deeply with the emperor's newfound convictions. Though Ashoka's wife Devi was a devout Buddhist, and the religion had long been practiced in parts of India, his conversion was not immediate. Instead, he adopted Buddhism gradually, taking time to study its principles and assess how they could benefit his empire. He maintained respect for other major Indian religions, such as Brahmanism and Jainism, and advocated for religious tolerance. In one of his edicts, Ashoka warned against disparaging other faiths, emphasizing that such actions harmed the perpetrator's own religion. Under the guidance of a Buddhist monk named Moggalliputta Tissa, Ashoka deepened his understanding of the faith. His spiritual journey included pilgrimages to significant Buddhist sites, including Lumbini, Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, and Kushinagar. At each location, he erected inscriptions and pillars, proclaiming his ideals and aspirations for a more virtuous society. These declarations, inscribed on rocks and pillars across his empire, conveyed Ashoka's thoughts and served as personal messages to his subjects, bridging a connection between the emperor and his people. While Ashoka's reign became synonymous with compassion and benevolence, he never abandoned his responsibilities as a ruler. Recognizing that his pacifism might be seen as a sign of weakness, he retained a powerful army to defend the empire and suppress rebellions. Ashoka's edicts made it clear that he would not hesitate to act decisively when necessary, ensuring stability while urging his people to live virtuously to avoid harsh penalties. Ashoka's governance reflected his commitment to the welfare of his people. He introduced measures to improve infrastructure, such as planting shade trees, digging wells, and constructing rest houses along trade routes. These initiatives ensured that travelers and common citizens alike benefited from the empire's resources. Ashoka also shifted his personal lifestyle, trading hunting expeditions for dhamma yatras, or religious pilgrimages, during which he interacted directly with his subjects to understand their needs and grievances. The emperor's vision of ethical governance was encapsulated in his concept of dharma, a code of moral conduct emphasizing respect, kindness, and non-violence toward all living beings. Ashoka encouraged obedience to parents and teachers, proper treatment of holy men and servants, and compassion for the vulnerable. His commitment to these ideals extended to his personal life. For instance, he reduced the slaughter of animals in royal kitchens and promoted vegetarianism. In 253 BCE, Ashoka hosted the Third Buddhist Council in Pataliputra, a pivotal event aimed at unifying the Buddhist community and organizing efforts to spread the faith. This council marked the beginning of Buddhism's global expansion. Missionaries, including Ashoka's own son Mahendra, were dispatched to regions as far as Sri Lanka, Kashmir, and the Hellenistic kingdoms, spreading the Buddha's teachings far beyond India's borders. Mahendra's mission to Sri Lanka proved particularly successful, fostering a Buddhist tradition that remains vibrant in the region to this day. These efforts, initiated by Ashoka, laid the foundation for Buddhism's growth into a major world religion, influencing cultures across Asia and beyond. Ashoka's reign of 38 years left an enduring legacy. When he passed away in 232 BCE, his empire began to decline, ultimately falling within a few decades. Yet Ashoka's influence endured, not through territorial conquests, but through the values he championed. Ashoka stands out as a radiant figure among the countless rulers of history, a beacon of wisdom and compassion whose light continues to shine,